Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Kuwait University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 27 of the subject of Software Quality Engineering, in which we are going to discuss the corrective and preventive actions, that is the CAPA in Software Quality Engineering. Dear students, CAPA, that is the corrective and preventive actions, is used to prevent certain defects that can damage the software systems. Here we will deeply discuss the corrective and the preventive actions with the details. So stay tuned with us. This is the discussion agenda. It contains the topics of the first of all, what is the corrective and preventive actions, that is CAPA, and then reality checks about CAPA, then CAPA subsystem in the context, and most importantly the CAPA process. Then how to conduct the CAPA, this is also very much important, and what info gets to be analyzed using the CAPA, and ways to sift through the huge piles of records. This is just in examples that will tell you that it is very much time effective as well as cost effective, that when we want to sift through the huge piles of records, what do you analyze that huge piles of records? That is, when do you analyze that particular big files of records? CAPA outcomes means that the results of the CAPA, and related to CAPA is also one is the PDCA. So these topics are very much important to understand the corrective and the preventive actions in software quality engineering. CAPA is basically the abbreviations of corrective and preventive action. So there are two main words, that is corrective and preventive, and actions means that corrective action and the preventive actions. So we will deeply discuss the corrective and preventive actions in these topics. Now what is the CAPA, that is the corrective and preventive action? Basically the CAPA is the set of different activities. The purpose of this activity is not to intend to correct the defects, but to eliminate the cause of these defects. So it helps to identify the cause and then to correct the cause of the defects. There are three main terms in the CAPA. One is called the corrections, second one is the corrective actions, and third one is the preventive actions. Correction means that to repairs or to reverse or to do some adjustments and to relates to the decomposition of existing non-conformity. So it means that when we want to repairs or we want to rework for a task or for a particular software engineering task, or we want to adjust in the existing task and relates to the decomposition of an existing non-conformity. Here it means that when we want to decompose the existing non-conformity, that the function is not conformance with the software requirement specifications as the user is intending. So the decomposition of such the issue is called the correction. Now there are two terms used in the CAPA. First one is called corrective action, second one is called the preventive action. Now in the corrective actions, the action that is taken to eliminate the causes of the existing non-conformity, defects or other undesirable situation in order to prevent the recurrences. So here we will correct the problem or to take certain steps that will correct the defects or undesirable situation in the software systems. while the preventive actions means that such an action which will be taken to eliminate the cause of the potential non-conformity or the defects or some other desirables problems and to prevent the occurrences of certain defects and other non-desirable problems. The main focus of the CAPA, that is the corrective and preventive action, is on preventive actions. Means that the problems or the defects which has arisen should not arise in the future. The reality check. The reality check is this one, that how we can see into the futures and fix problems that have not yet occurred. That means that sometimes certain problems will not arise yet, and they have not so far arisen, and maybe they may be arise in the futures. So how we can set certain actions which will prevent them occurring in the future. So here corrective means that fix past problems. That means that those problems which occurred in the past. While preventive means that predict potential problems. So here predicting the potential problems are those problems that can occur in the futures. So prevention is the answer of these questions, that in the past certain problem will not be arise or they didn't arise so far, but in the futures that problems may arise. So preventive actions is in fact used to fix the future problems that can occur in the software development. So basically, CAPA is used for the prediction purpose as well, that in the past, certain problems may arise for any users. Now, CAPA subsystem in context. Corrective and prevention systems basically depends on another steps or phases as well, which are defined by the management controls. So basically, CAPA subsystems has multiple subphases as well. For example, designs control, production and process controls, serial reports, equipment and facility controls, records, documents and the change controls, material controls as well. So combinedly, the CAA is the collection of 6 different subphases. First one is the designs control. Here we mean that we have to control our designs of the component in such a way that there may no problems in the designs and there can no be such a problems that can occur in the future as well. Similarly, material controls means that we should control all these materials are the case tools used to develop the software systems, and these case tools should be controlled in such a way that in the future no such an issue should arise. Record documents and change controls. So here all the records and others hard copy or soft copy documents and change controls are used as the input for the corrective and preventive actions. Equipment and facility controls. If we have other equipments and facilities, for example lab facilities, similarly for example the internet facilities, and we have many equipments that are used to develop the softwares, they must be controlled in a good fashion. Service report. The service reports are those reports which provides the service about the software system, and these reports contains what the services will be provided to the end users when this software will be installed or deployed on the user environment. So service reports contains all services provided by the software to the end users. Similarly, the production and process controls. Here we will control the overall production of the software development organizations for the projects, and also we will control the process used for developing the projects. For example, waterfall models, prototyping models, spiral models, these are all the processes here. So CAPA makes sure that all these processes and as well as the production should be controlled by the management controls. And here the overall responsibilities for the CAPA is of the software project manager. If the software project manager is a skillful person, he or she can easily control and implement the corrective and preventive actions. Otherwise, the inexperienced software project manager may lead to the failure of the project. The CAPA process, that is the corrective and preventive actions process. The input for the CAPA is the internal or external sources. The internal or external sources means that, for example, the source code, the documentations, and the feedback of the customer as well. So these act as an input for the process. And when these inputs occurs, then the elements are executed. So here the data is first of all obtained and analyzed, then investigate the cause of the problem here. So first we analyze the data and then investigate the cause of the problems. Then we identify the actions that will be required to resolve the problem. Then verify or validate effectiveness of the actions that has been implemented. While in the output sides, we will obtain the implementation changes that will be necessary to identify and resolve the defects, disseminating information that are transfers to others stakeholders for effectiveness of the CAPA process, and submit for the management reviews, and all the information will be submitted to the higher management office for their review, and the manager will then take up in actions that the reviews should be applied here. And also all these steps will be documented to form the CAPA report. So documentation will be maintained for all the steps here. The overall success of the CAP process depends on these four steps, that the exact data should be analyzed there and accurate analysis should be performed. Here the high experience papers are utilized to analyze the data. Investigating the cause is also very much important. Then what is the root cause of the problem? Here the root cause is identified, and then according to that cause the corrective actions are taken place. And after taking the actions, then verify validate effectiveness is applied, that whether our actions are exactly accurate and they are properly validated. Verifications means that the new functionalities, for example, if there is required the functional changement, the changes in the function, then verification it means that the system will be verified with the software requirement specification document. While validations here means that the system will be validated as like the user's expectation. Now how to conduct the CAPA, that is the cost and preventive actions. These are four different steps which will help us to conduct the CAPA process. First, we will gather the information from the environment. Here, it means that the information will be obtained from the user as well as from the other stakeholders that are interested in this project. The information will be obtained through the questionnaires or through the interviews or sampling or from the observations. Here, the informations can be collected from the questionnaires in which different questions will be collected, and based on these questions the feedback should be obtained. And also we can conduct the face-to-face interview with the different stakeholders. The face-to-face interview will be required because sometimes the questionnaires do not provide correct results. So that's why the face-to-face interview is very much effective. Today, as through the email or any other medium of collections of informations, for example, we can conduct the online video streamings for collecting the informations, analysis of the informations. After collecting the information will be analyzed. The analysis must be done very much carefully. There may be some statistical analysis as well. The information analysis is conducted in order to refine the informations. Incorrect informations are identified as well and they are documented in a separate documents, while the exact information are also analyzed and they act as a input for the other phases. Number 3, development of the improved methods. When the root cause is identified through the analysis of the informations, then we develop the improved methods for the development. Here we will change the development methodologies and the previous development methodology will be thrown away. And the new adopted methodology will be refined as well. For example, if we have previously developed a software in the sequential methodology, that is in fact non-object methodology, and now we will want to adopt a new methodology, so that will be the new object-oriented methodology. Or we want to change the technology under which the software is developed previously. For example, the previous technology for the software development was C++, and now we want to adopt a new technology. So the candidate technologies may be Android or the Visual Studio.net. So we have to work for the improvement of the methodology that is used for the software development. Number 4, implementation of improved methods. After selecting the methodologies in the step 3, we also requires to implement the improved methodologies. That is the key steps here. When the new methodology is implemented, so we are expecting that the results of the new methodology should also be improved. Means that high quality software development, high quality softwares will act as a output of the CAPA process here. And also the productivity of the programmers will be improved through the CAPA. Number 5, follow-up. Follow-up means that we will follow all these 4 steps in a loop. Means that all these steps will be followed up in a iterative fashions. So when the certain problem arises, again we have to conduct all these phases. So follow up here means that we need to follow the CAP process once again, and we have to perform the iterative fashions of the CAPA. What info we get to be analyzed? we need different documentations for the analysis purpose. So we have to round up the usual suspects. The usual suspects means that those components are those items where there is the chance of occurrence of the defects, and we have to check these suspected components first. So it includes design review reports, means that all the reports that is concerned with the designing should be reviewed here. If there is certain flaw in the designs, then that flaw should be corrected. Also, we need to code walkthrough the reports. The code walkthrough will be used for the reviewing purpose. Walkthrough means that to review the code here, just a fast walkthrough is required here. Test reports. All the reports that is concerned with the testings, it should also be reviewed. Project progress reports. That is the reports which define the status about the progress of the project. So it also be required to be reviewed. Customer complaint records. If there are certain complaints that are filed by the customers, then these complaint reports should also be analyzed, and they will act as a suspects for our CAPA process. Software change requests and maintenance reports. During the software's development, if the customer wants certain changes in the software and the customer has requested for the maintenance and changes, then that document should also be reviewed. Training follow-up reports. After the trainings, if you have certain report, then that report should also be monitors, and that report should also be checked for the any sort of the problems that arise. So all these reports provide you of good feedbacks and act as an input for the CAPA process. But don't forget that special reports on quality and quality audit should also be reviewed. So these are the certain reports that is also based on the quality of the softwares and the quality audits. Quality audits is performed by mostly by the third party, uh, and that will be the party of the government officers. So officials relevant to the quality, they provides us good audits, and that reports findings act as a main source for finding the defects in the software system. The next one is suggestions observation by the staff. The staff members that have worked on the project is also they are very much useful stakeholders, and the suggestions and their observations act as an input for the CAP process. But sometimes we are facing a lot of reports, and it's very much difficult to sift through these huge piles of the records here. As you can see in the image, if you have bundles of records and that are mostly in the written format, so that's why handling and reading such records for identification of the bugs is very much a complex job. So what are the methods to cope with such a situations? So ask the reporters to indicate a priority for their report. So here the reporter will identify the prioritized reports only. Also we can perform the random samplings. The random samplings will collect certain random reports from the set of all reports. And that random sampling is in fact blind selections, but sometimes they are also useful. Combination of the two techniques above. So we can also perform certain random sampling as well as we can ask from the reporters to find out the priority for their reports, and that reports will act as an input for our the correctiveness and the preventive action process. When do you analyze the huge piles of records? Basically, we analyze the huge piles of records when after a plane crash. The plane crash is just here in idioms or proverbs. It means that when the catastrophic situation arises, then we analyze the huge piles of the records. Or every time a plane lands. Every time a plane lands means that every time when the project finishes, then we analyze the huge piles of the records. That if, for example, there is certain problems in the projects, then we say analyze the huge pile of the records. The CAPA outcomes. These are the results of the CAPA. When we will perform the CAPA, then the results will be like this. That number one, updating relevant procedures. So all the relevant procedure will be updated when the CAP process has been executed. Updating relevant work procedures. All the procedure and methodologies of the work of the staff that is working on the project is also updated here. Changing tools. And in the results of the CAP process, the existing or the old tools will be changed and new tools will take place of the previous tools. Improvement of reporting methods. Here, the reporting methodology will also be improved. Reporting methodology means all the documentation styles and methods. So it contains report contents, means that all the contents of the reports will be improved. And report frequency means that the number of reports generated for the particular project will also be improved. Change in the training. So also we will make changes in the training sessions. The training sessions are certain workshop and seminar sessions which must be conducted annually at least, and these training sessions will update the skills and capabilities of our team members. Probably several of the above and maybe etc. others as well, but these are most important. Now, other concept is also related to CPA is the PDCA. PDCA is almost equivalent to the CAPA. Now we here see that how PDCA works here. PDCA is in fact the abbreviation of four different words. That is plan, do, check and then act. So first we have to do the planning here. In the plan, we will establish our objectives, that is the purpose, and the processes to deliver the results in accordance with the customer specifications. So here in the plans, we will have to deliver certain products which is according to the expectations of the customer. Second one is the do element. In the do element, we will implement the processes. So we have to conduct certain processes in our organization which will guarantee us to do a high quality work according to the specifications of the customers. Next one is the check. In the checks, we will monitor and evaluate all the processes and results, that is the against the objectives and specification and the reports of the outcomes. So in the checks, we have to check the implemented processes and their effectiveness. The next one is called the act. In the act, we will apply certain actions to the outcomes of the necessary improvements. Means that if we want to improve the process in the act sections, we will take certain steps to improve the methodologies for the software development. And this means that reviewing all the steps that we need to do the plan, do and check and act. So all these three steps will be reviewed whereas in the checks, and modifications to the process for the improvement should be conducted here, and before the next implementations all these three should be reviewed and then changes should occur here. Now, all these four steps should be performed in the iterative fashions. For example, first we will perform the act, then plan, then do, and then check. And after check, again, act, plan, and do and check should be performed, because in the software industry, our products are changed frequently, and also the underlying technology is also changed frequently. So that's why that is in the should be performed in the iterative fashions, because may be possible that in the two sections the technology that we are using for the development of the software systems should be that maybe have maybe become the old technology and new technology may be launched. So the existing technology will be superseded with the new technology. So that's why the check and act and plan and do should be performed again and again. Now, dear students, this is the end of the lectures. So if you have any questions, you can ask the question through the email. Also, if you want to read more about these topics, this is the important reference for your interest. The book is the Software Quality Assurance from the Theory to the Implementation, and it is written by the Bay Daniel Gallen. And if you have still any questions, you can ask that question through the email. My email is m.kadeem@kust.edu.pk. I will wait for your question and will respond immediately as soon as I get them from your side. So thank you very much.